All right, so get ready to dive into something fascinating. With me today, we're tackling Spiritism.
Ooh, Spiritism. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
To be honest, I always pictured like ghosts and seances, the spooky stuff.
Yeah, I can see that. It definitely has that kind of vibe for a lot of people.
Exactly. But we're going way beyond that. We're getting the real deal straight from the source.
Oh, and where is this fountain of Spiritism knowledge?
The US Spiritist Federation website. Have you ever explored their stuff?
Oh, yeah, they're great. Very informative. If you want a clear understanding of Spiritism, minus the Hollywood drama, they're fantastic.
Right. And, one thing that struck me right away on their site, they call Spiritism a science, which I thought was interesting.
Science, huh?
Yeah.
That does make you wonder. What do they mean by that?
Yeah. Like, are we talking about labs and experiments with ghosts?
Well, they don't really get into their specific methods on the website, at least not in what we're looking at.
Yeah.
But it seems like they approach it with this focus on observation, reason, seeking knowledge. Yeah, it's similar to any other science in a way.
Okay, so there's a structure to it. It's not all just like feelings and intuition.
Totally. There's a whole system. They actually have these 5 main books that are like the foundation of the whole belief system.
5 books. Wow, what are they called?
Say there's the Spirit's book, the Medium's book, the Gospel Explained by Spiritism, Heaven and Hell, and the Genesis.
Wow, the Spirit's book, the Medium's book. It's like Spiritism 101, 201. Oh, who wrote all these books?
A guy named Allan Kardec. He's considered the codifier of Spiritism.
Yeah.
He took all these different ideas about spirits and the afterlife and kind of, organized them.
So Allan Kardec, he's like the architect of Spiritism, basically. Okay, this is already way more involved than I expected. We've got spirits, science, a whole library dedicated to it. But what does it all actually mean? What do Spiritists believe? Okay, so we've set the stage, but let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are the main things, the big ideas that Spiritists actually believe?
Well, the website goes deep on a lot of points. One that stood out is their view of God. They believe in this supreme intelligence, the ultimate creator, pretty similar to other religions, actually.
Well, okay, yeah, that makes sense. What about their idea of the universe, though? Do they think there are other planets out there with life on them? Maybe even some alien neighbors?
Get this, they DO.
Yeah.
They believe the universe is way bigger than we can even fathom, and it's full of these inhabited worlds, and it gets even wilder. They say we humans, we're not just these physical bodies walking around.
Oh, okay, so what else is there?
We each have a spirit, like an eternal essence, and it's connected to our body by this thing called a perispirit.
A perispirit. All right, now you have to explain that one. It sounds kind of sci-fi. What is it?
Think of it like, an energetic link, a bridge between your physical self and your eternal spirit. The website doesn't get into the specifics of it, but it's a pretty cool concept to think about, right?
Totally. So then what happens to this perispirit and our spirit when we die?
That's where reincarnation comes in. Spiritists, they believe that death isn't the end. It's just a transition.
So it's not like lights out, game over.
No. Our spirits, they just keep evolving. They're reborn into new physical bodies and continue learning and growing across multiple lifetimes.
Well, and so we just keep coming back again and again. Are there different levels of spirits then? Some more evolved than others?
Exactly. They group spirits into these levels of development. You've got your pure spirits who've reached the top level, almost like spiritual mentors. Then there's good spirits working toward that same goal. And then you have imperfect spirits who are still figuring things out and might even steer people in the wrong direction.
Okay, so that's where it gets a little spooky, right? These imperfect spirits, are they the ones causing trouble in haunted houses and stuff?
Not quite. Free will is super important in Spiritism. So just like in life, we make choices, right? And those choices have consequences, both in this life and the next. Good spirits encourage the good choices, while those imperfect spirits might tempt us towards easier or more selfish paths.
So it's this constant back and forth like a tug of war, but we're the ones holding the rope, ultimately making the decisions.
Yes, exactly. And this is where their take on Jesus is interesting. They see him as a model, someone who embodies that highest spiritual evolution. But they see his teachings through this lens of reincarnation, where it's all about constant growth over many lifetimes.
Wow. So not just what would Jesus do in this life, but across all your lives. That's a high standard.
Right. And speaking of connecting with something bigger, prayer is a big deal in Spiritism. They see it as a direct link to the good spirits, a way to ask for guidance.
Like a direct line to your own personal spiritual support team. So it's not just about asking for favors then.
No, it's deeper than that. It's about building a real connection with the divine, aligning yourself with that positive energy, for your own good and the good of others.
Okay, wow. We've covered so much. God, the universe, aliens, reincarnation, spiritual mentors, even a cosmic support team. It's way more than just ghosts and seances, that's for sure. But we've got to address the elephant in the room. There are a lot of myths and misconceptions about Spiritism, right? I mean, Spiritism, it kind of gets thrown in with things like, Ouija boards and haunted dolls and those late-night seances. It's easy to see why people might just think it's all spooky stories.
Yeah, it's definitely got that reputation, doesn't it? But like you said, it's way more than that.
For sure.
Yeah.
So say someone's hearing all this for the first time. Maybe they had some ideas about Spiritism already. What's the most important thing for them to remember?
That's a good question. I think just approach it with an open mind, And look for sources you can trust, like the US Spiritist Federation. They're great. They're not presenting it like some mysterious supernatural thing. It's more about reason, observation, wanting to learn.
Right, like that whole science aspect we talked about.
Exactly. It's about saying, hey, don't just take our word for it. Go explore. Ask your own questions.
I like that. Okay, so we've covered a lot. God, the universe, reincarnation, aliens. We even talked about a spiritual support team. It's pretty mind-blowing, honestly. But let's get real for a sec. What is all this Spiritism stuff? What does it mean for the average person? Someone listening right now.
Well, for one thing, think about this. What if death wasn't an ending? What if it was just moving on to a different state of being, just continuing that spiritual journey? That changes things, doesn't it?
It's huge. No more game over. It's like level up.
Right. And then there's knowing that the choices you make, they don't just affect this life. They echo through all your lifetimes. Knowing that could change how you live each day.
Every decision means so much more suddenly. You're living for all your future selves.
Yeah. And then there's the comfort of knowing you're not alone. There are these good spirits out there, these guiding lights, just there to help you along the way.
Like a whole team of spiritual cheerleaders cheering you on. Wow, this whole deep dive has been incredible. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave everyone with something to think about. If you could ask a spirit one question, just one, what would it be? Think on that. Maybe do some more digging into Spiritism yourself. See what you find.
There's always more to learn, right? Who knows? Maybe out there in that huge universe, our spirits will keep growing and connecting long after we're gone from this life.
That's a beautiful thought. A big thank you to the US Spiritist Federation for their amazing website. We'll be sure to link it in the show notes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and most importantly, never lose that curiosity.